Hey y'all, I actually filmed this video before and realized that it didn't save, so thanks to TikTok, I'm starting this over again. I recognize that I haven't done any book reviews in a while, or at least like spoken book reviews in a while, so I just want to catch up on those and share out some of the things I've read since February. So it's going to take a while. First book that I started, I had already talked about. By the way, if you see me looking down, it is because I'm using my laptop to remember what books I've read and when. I already did a kind of review of a few rules for predicting the future by Octavia E. Butler, so check that out. But suffice it to say, like, you see it on my shelf up there, suffice it to say that book is incredible. It's actually a really short essay, and yeah, if you've ever wondered how Octavia Butler was able to predict something that is happening currently, read that one and you'll understand, I think. The second book that I read in February was actually Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. If you haven't read anything by him, stop this video and go read something. He has a ton of books and some of them really short, but this one was one that I've seen him get a lot of awards for, and I couldn't believe that I hadn't read it yet. Long Way Down is about a teen boy whose brother was murdered, and he had found out who did it, and so he had wanted to enact revenge on this person. But as he's leaving his apartment building and he gets into the elevator, he's confronted with the spirits, basically, of his loved ones who have already passed, and has to confront possible consequences of these actions and think about the way that this could enact even more pain and suffering, and keep the cycle going. So that one was a really well done book. It's a novel in verse, by the way. I listened to an audiobook because I love Jason Reynolds' voice. If you're a sucker like me, you'll want to listen to it. And the third book I read, I can't really talk about because it was published by Wednesday Books, and we are boycotting them. The next book I read was Witch of Wild Things by Raquel Vasquez Gilliland. That one was awesome. It really hit the spot. It gave me similar vibes to The Secret Society of Irregular Witches, just because it had some of that coziness to it. But I liked that there were quite a few twists in there that I wasn't expecting. I love the whole like practical magic vibes as well, but there are some heavy topics in there, so please like check the content warnings before you dive into that. The next book I want to talk about is Shadowshaper by Daniel José Older. This is actually the first book in a series, and I just want to know, how come none of y'all told me about this book? What's that about? Do you not like me? Because it's a banger and like the series is incredible. I just don't understand, you know? I love that it takes place by the area that my family lived in Brooklyn. I recognize some of the conversations and beautiful representation for Afro-Latinas and for Black women. It also has some queer characters, and they're not like just sidekicks and stuff. I also read Sex, Lies, and Sensibility by Nikki Payne, which like like that one makes me blush, honestly. Yeah, she really did a great job of capturing the identities of the two MCs. One of the MCs is part of the Abenaki. This is in New England area, specifically in Maine. I also think that y'all should check the content warnings on this one for sure before getting into it. I will say, if you're not already familiar with Nikki Payne's books or with Jane Austen's books, you might be annoyed that this is a very slow burn, but that is pretty typical of that genre, and she's recreating that genre, so I was fine with that because the spice was delicious. I also read book 2 in the Shadowshaper series because I needed to. I still need to pick up the third book. I also started March with This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, which was amazing for numerous reasons. The couple in this story, they're both parents, they're both people who have other things going on in their lives, their own careers and such, and so it's not like a relationship that comes together quickly, you know what I mean? There are some difficulties, and another thing is that Kennedy Ryan did a great job with the representation of folks who are autistic, and parents who have children who are autistic or who realize that they themselves might be autistic. She handled it with care, and spoke to the right people. I finally finished The Follower of Flowers by Natalia Hernandez. I don't know why it took me so freaking long to read it because it was actually kind of fast-paced, but when I finally got back into it, I was gripped until the end. The world building is amazing. Again, I do like this one better than the first book because of how much more we get to understand this world and the characters. The cast is awesome. And also, Natalia, how dare you end this on such a cliffhanger? Like, I can't wait till the next book comes out. I'm gonna be nice. The next book I read was Lore of the Wilds by Analeigh Sbrana. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. I thought that book was going to be young adult. I was incorrect. It was a little spicy sometimes. I really liked this romantasy. It was kind of cozy, actually. It's the first book in a series, so I'm looking forward to reading the rest of them. After that, I went into listening to the audiobook for Minor Detail by Adania Shibli. That book was painful. It was hard to get through the first half, but I knew that it was going to be worth it. I knew it was very important that I do it. I just took some breaks in the meantime. I was trying to be kind to myself, you know? What hit me the hardest about it was that the first half is actually based on a true story, and the second half is based on a woman who is now obsessed with the fact that the thing that happened in the first half occurred on her birthday. And so she is trying to find anything she can on the history of this, and throughout this whole thing you're seeing the experiences that a lot of Palestinians have with trying to get access to resources for research, to information about their own history, having to go through checkpoints and being faced with so many walls and security, just a lot of violence. And I think that if you haven't heard about or learned about these things, this might be a good way to start. The next one was Queer Ducks and Other Animals, The Natural World of Animal Sexuality. That book was so freaking entertaining. There's also some little small comics in there that are cool too, but I think that this book is great for when you're trying to understand why this whole argument about what's natural in human sexuality is just straight up dumb. Highly recommend it. I also read The Diablo's Curse by Gabe Novoa. I listened to that on audio because I saw that the same narrator was on it, whom I love, and so that book was top notch. I loved it. I didn't realize that this was going to be the follow-up to The Wicked Bargain. It does go from Dami's perspective, so it's a little bit different. But I love that I could recognize some of the landmarks in this one because it's in the Boston area. And I think that the author did a wonderful job with this story.